Even in her apology, she said, we want to be supporting inclusion while maintaining fair competition. And you're like, well, yeah, everybody wants to do that. But the difference between me and people on the other side of the conversation is I know fairness needs to be prioritized above every other thing. Hey, do you think that the person that got hit by a car and lost their legs does not want to run in races in the Olympics? You know, they want to be a track star. And there's like, hey, we need to allow them to race. You're all, well, how are we going to do that? They're all, we should give them a horse to ride. You're all, ride a horse. They're all, yes. You're all, ride a horse in a foot race against humans. Yes, they don't have legs. We need to be inclusive. You're all, but a horse is much faster than humans. Not all horses. Okay, that's actually, and as a matter of fact, there's actually no science supporting that horses are faster than humans. You made that up. And I have a few studies over here that show that horses and humans are actually exactly the same speed. Okay, that's basically like the exact same conversation as we're having constantly in this topic. Although this is dead now. This is never going to happen again. So if you're like me, you were looking for a crystal clear moment that woke died. And I think that there were quite a few incidents that, you know, you could kind of go, well, that was a clear indicator that it was on the way out. But if you want to know the exact moment where the debate over biological men competing against females in sports took its final shot to the head, this is that moment. It's over right now. Okay. This post on X from Simone Biles is the final nail in the coffin of that conversation right there. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why, but we are also going to look at some of the blowback that she received before we look at this, because what you're looking at here is essentially a full-throated, I am so freaking sorry, you guys. Okay, like literally, this is what it sounds like. I am so sorry, okay? I didn't know that being on the side of biological men, you know, trans athletes, beating girls was literally the least popular position in the history of America. But I found that out the hard way, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear about this. I am not supportive of biological men in women's sports at all. At all. Except much longer and, you know, with more explanation. Now, the reason for that, guys, you know, if we were going to summarize, we're going to look at some of the responses that she got, even to her apology, dude. Even to her apology, she was just getting railroaded, dude. Okay? And she's a sweet girl, for the record. Simone Biles is a sweet girl. I have no ill will towards her at all. I actually feel bad for her. And so does Riley Gaines. Look at this. Riley Gaines, okay, just for some backdrop before we look at what she wrote. Riley Gaines said, in case you were wondering, Simone Biles is still getting dragged on TikTok. I almost feel bad for you. Yeah. And then look at this. Derek Brunson, dude, is a UFC fighter who has been very, I don't know. There have been some topics like, you know, political topics that he's posted like that. I was like, bro, really? But, you know, he's got like dyed blonde hair, you never know. But even he is like, screw Simone Biles. You know what I mean? So real quick, here's what I wanted to, well, let's just watch a couple of these. Okay. So keep in mind, these are girls on TikTok who are lighting up Simone Biles here. And then we're going to look at what Simone Biles wrote back. And then I'm going to show you a couple other things. Cause again, this conversation is over. It's over. There are no more biological dudes playing against women at all. Like, no one is going to support this. They actually went on the USA Gymnastics website and changed the rule, because on the USA Gymnastics website up until like yesterday, they would have allowed trans athletes to compete against the girls, and they quietly went in there and were like, "Oh my God, change it quick. We got tricked." Now, I assume that you got tricked, which is the only reason you would have not already liked this video and subscribed to my channel. Bam.
Don't worry, Riley Gaines. I will say what you cannot say.
Oh, by the way, if anyone knows the girls in these videos, okay, please tag them. Like, if you follow them, if you know how to get a hold of it, like, please, like, post this video and tag them. I want them to hear my words when I say, this is a smart girl right here, okay? This is a girl you should listen to. I have no idea what her opinions are about other things, but I can tell from a still photo of her eyes right here, this is a smart girl, okay? This is a very, very smart person. Doesn't mean that we're going to agree on everything, but tag her, tag all these girls. Anybody that I put in this video, please.
That I am disappointed in you, Simone Biles. I thought you were an advocate for young girls. I thought you were an advocate for those who had been used and exploited. I thought you were an advocate for those whose voices had been silenced, and I thought wrong. I'm disappointed because today you've let down two communities. You've let down young girls who have supported you, And you've let down African Americans with this blackface trope of laughing with nothing intelligent to say. Wake up, sister. You're being used.
Yep. I have a feeling her and I would not agree on. There are lots of topics her and I would disagree on, but we absolutely agree on this one. And we'd be friends, you know? We would be friends. And by the way, I just realized if you guys are not clear on where this is coming from, like if this is like new, what did Simone do? Simone Biles told Riley Gaines, who is an advocate for biological women having their own safe space to compete against other biological women and not allowing trans athletes to compete against biological females. And if you ask where she got her position from, she was one of the girls who got off the podium because Lia Thomas, a 6'4" biological man with an intact penis, was competing against her in swimming. And so she, instead of being on the podium at the national championship, got bumped off so Lia could be on the podium. Now, she wasn't even on the team, okay? She wasn't even on, like, Lia's team. And I bring that up because every single time that I talk about this topic, I will continue to tell the exact same story. And if you've heard it before, you know how important this is, so you'll listen to it again, okay? This is the perfect way to explain how insane the woke mind virus actually is, okay? Lia Thomas, a 6'4" dude on the men's Penn State swimming, or Penn University swimming team, okay? He said, oh, you know, hey, I'm going to start going by Lia, and is over on the girls' team, okay? Just obviously on a competitive level, that is completely insane on its own, right? But beyond that, originally they said that there was going to be some kind of arrangement made about where people were going to be changing, so on and so forth, which was not followed. So Lia Thomas, with their biologically intact, penis, was in the locker room with all of these young girls. When you go to college, you're 18 years old, dude. Some girls are 17 when they go to college, okay? You're talking about young girls that were being asked to get completely stark naked in front of this biological man who is attracted to women, by the way, or girls, as it were, depending on how you want to look at it. And he's sitting there oogling them while they're swimmers, dude. Like, they have to, like, you know how hard it is to get into those things? So these girls are bending over, trying to get this thing on. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, a creep in a girl's locker room for a swim team, obviously they have to get completely stark naked, putting it on or off, okay? And they felt very uncomfortable, obviously. And they went to the university and they complained, I wouldn't even say complained. That's not even the right way to put this. They voiced their own feelings of this, how they didn't feel comfortable, right? They didn't feel comfortable getting butt naked in front of a biological man who is also naked in the locker room. And the university told them to go get counseling to deal with their transphobia. That's a 100% true story. They did nothing except tell them that they were the problem. These young girls, who in many cases probably did not have any experience with biological men naked, period. So I don't know how, and even if they had, right, since we're talking about Simone Biles, obviously the Larry Nassar scandal, one of the most horrific things that's ever happened, that was institutionally created assault, right? For years and years and years. Oh yeah, we voiced our concerns about, that he was penetrating us, and the university did nothing. Michigan did nothing. Oh, they did nothing. They did nothing. They did nothing. And it didn't happen until there was a absolute groundswell before anyone did anything. So the institution failed those girls, and they were victims of assault as a result of it. All of them. Okay. And then these girls go for, not penetration, but this is fucking very adjacent to sexual assault as far as I'm concerned. You got in that situation, and they were told to go get therapy because they were the problem. Okay? That's what woke does to your brain. Okay? That's what woke does to your brain. Anyway, let's continue to the next girl. So Simone Biles had said to Riley Gaines, bully someone your own size, which ironically would be a male. And Riley Gaines is 5'5", like 100 and, I don't know, 5'5", like 120 or 136. Yeah. I do know a dude that's 5'5", 136. I know a couple of them. So I guess that's not there are dudes that are 5'6", 135. That's a very small dude. But this girl, probably also a wokester, is pointing out that she is 5'9", 160. So she's like, wow, thanks a lot, Simone Biles. That's really insulting what you said. Not very smart.
Simone Biles is an embarrassment not only to women, but also to womanhood. Because how are you attacking a woman, Riley Gaines, who has been an advocate, who has been standing up for women and girls, not only from harm, but also women who have worked hard to get their deserved trophy and award, only for that to be ripped from them and given to biological men? You're an embarrassment.
Now, would you guys guess that this person is always on the political side of Riley Gaines? I'm going to say probably not, dude. Okay, I'm going to say probably not. Now, am I making assumptions based on stereotypes? Yes, I am. But if you guys follow my content, whether you think that you agree with me or not, if you actually follow my content, you'll know I don't mean anything negative by it, okay? I love all of you guys. I am serious when I say that. I got no issues with anyone unless they say really stupid. I don't even have any issue with Simone Biles, you know? You have to be downtown Los Angeles, like throwing a brick through a police officer's windshield, for me to have an irreparable problem with you. But when we go there, it's kind of like, oh, never mind. I'm not even going to talk about that right now. But anyway, so that she got it from her as well.
Simone Biles tweeted was manipulative. I think it was performative. And to be honest, coming from an Olympic champion, I'm very disappointed. To publicly call out Riley Gaines really confuses me because she stands up for biological women, and y'all seem more concerned to stand up for biological men, trans women, and I don't understand it. I called her a sore loser because she doesn't want to compete against biological men. Like, be absolutely for real. Or you can't see it because you didn't have to compete against a biological man in your division. And then the icing on the cake is trying to stand up for all women, trans women, but then deliberately comparing Riley Gaines' body to a man. This is why I call Simone Biles' tweet performative, because if you truly cared about all women, then you would understand where Riley Gaines is coming from. She's standing for the majority of women, biological women. Simone Biles, I think you're an amazing, incredible athlete, but I definitely don't stand with people who do not stand with common sense.
Boom, son. Boom, son. Okay. So this is one of those moments where everyone got aligned in the same direction. Everyone. Okay. Everyone got aligned on this. Okay. Which is why Simone Biles had to issue this public apology, which I will read to you guys, obviously, as soon as I make the following point really quick. Now, whether you are a voter on this side of the fence or this side of the fence, okay? Well, you know what? Actually, if you're on the side that lost, okay? If you're on the side that lost, one thing that I have heard a lot from that side is how the other guys made such a huge deal about this trans issue when it it's like not even a lot of people. It's like, it's ridiculous. They're talking about this whole thing and there's like barely any of them. It was like a non-issue that they ran on and it was just very manipulative. I'm like, oh, is that right? Oh, very manipulative, huh? Hey, why don't you ask Simone Biles if it was like not a very important issue, Simone Biles, because if she says something, you basically are going to be polling the entire population. How'd that go? Did it seem like not a very big deal, or did it seem like it was a really big deal? Because you're asking people to suspend their ability to reconcile common sense and what is right in front of them. Seems like a pretty fucking big deal, Anyway, so here is what Simone Biles said. I wanted to follow up from my last tweets. I've always believed competitive equity. Ugh, I hate that word, man. I always believed competitive equity and inclusivity are both essential in sports. The current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges. And it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley, which I apologize for. These are sensitive, complicated issues that I truly don't have the answers or solutions to. Hey, what did I say? What did I say when I did the live stream about this? When she first talked, I was like, you made a huge mistake here. You should have not said a word about this. This is not a conversation you want to be involved in. Bad move. And that was right. Obviously. I don't have the solution, but I believe the solution starts with empathy and respect. I was not advocating for policies that compromise fairness in women's sports. She wasn't. I know it sounds like she was. She wasn't. And I pointed that out on my live stream. My objection is to be singling out children for public scrutiny in ways that I feel personal and harmful. that I feel were, I believe is what she was looking for, personal and harmful. It wasn't though. But individual athletes, especially kids, should never be the focus of criticism of a flawed system they have no control over. I am going to push back on that really quick. Hang on. I believe sports organizations have a responsibility to come up with rules supporting inclusion while maintaining fair competition. We all want a future for sport that is fair, inclusive, and respectful. Yeah. Okay. So you're kind of, I mean, sure, but fair is the most critical part of this. Like, just for the record, okay, fair is the most important part of this equation. And that's your problem right there, is that you want inclusion, but you also want fairness, and you have not specified which of those is the higher priority. Okay. Obviously, we want to be inclusive, just not at the expense of fairness at all. Okay. Well, what are they supposed to do? There's no way for them to compete if you exclude them. Well, guess what, dude? Okay, I'm sure that a person who lost both their legs in a tragic car accident, they want to run the 100-yard dash in the Olympics also. But if they say they want to do it running on the back of a horse, then we're going to say, yeah, that's not fair. Horses run faster than human beings. Yeah, but we need to think about the person with no legs. It needs to be inclusive. Right, but that's not fair because they're running on the back of a horse, okay? So fairness always needs to be the top priority. If not, then you have a problem that is going to be wildly, unpopular, like to the point where you are going to get the kind of blowback that you're getting here. Now, obviously, a horse running against humans, a little bit more extreme, but not by much, dude. Okay? It's like Lia Thomas was your beta test, okay? It's over now. Like, this is a wrap. Riley Gaines is a result of the Lia Thomas situation. You might look at like a picture. There are like some examples of kids, or kids. God, now we're talking about like kids that are transitioning. It's just insane. Okay, but you might be able to find some examples of biological men who have transitioned to be women and they're shitty athletes and they're not winning. And you're like, see, look. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. And like, if the person sucks, then yeah, maybe, but you have to make rules, okay? Like, you have to actually make rules. Okay, your rule can't be biological men cannot compete against women unless they're terrible at the sport, and then we'll allow it, okay? Like, you have to just make rules, because if the top of the heap is better than the top of the heap for the females, you just can't let them play, dude. I'm sorry. Like, it's not everyone's right to be able to both transition and do all of the things that they want at the expense of other people. It's just like, This is not rocket science, okay? Prioritize fairness and the conversation is over, right? Now check this out, okay? This is the thing that I wanted to show you guys though, because at the end of the day, I just want to point out that she actually did not support women, like the women's sports. Okay, check this out. Hold on. Okay, right here. So if you actually read what she said, she never said she thinks that men should be competing against women. She said, "You're truly sick." Okay, so again, this is what Riley Gaines posted. She said, "Comments off. To be expected when your star player is a boy. Hey guys, which one do you think is the boy?" You know what I mean? Hey, I don't know. Who could it be? Could it be the one over here that is gigantic and looks like a boy? I don't know. Probably. Now, do I have a problem with that kid? I don't know. I don't know their story. Do I have a problem with them playing in the women's sports? Yes, I do. Okay? That's not bullying the kid. So, Simone Biles says, "Riley Gaines, you're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead you bully them. One thing's for sure, no one in sports is safe with you around." Okay, so she actually specifically is saying that they need to find a new solution. Okay, so just for the record, like, she's not lying. Okay, she actually was saying what she is saying now that she was saying, like, she's actually not backtracking because, this was a really, 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 really stupid argument to take up. But she's not backtracking. Okay, she really did say, like, her original position was what she said it was, in her defense. Anyway, but let's take a look at what people said about her, you know, what she said. Like, let's just read some of the responses because they were merciless. Like, read some of this stuff. You talk about empathy and respect, but you showed neither. You attacked someone for having a different view, and you did it in front of millions. My daughter cried when she read what you said. She thought you were someone who stood for all girls. Turns out you only stand for the ones who agree with you. Damn. That hurts, dude. That hurts. Wait. Oh, shut. Okay, hey, watch this. Hey, this chick said, hey, you don't need to explain. Decent people agree with you. Riley is not a decent person, is a full stop bully to children. She should be the one explaining herself. Hey, let's see how this goes over. You've obviously never had one of your children playing competitive sports. Riley has nothing to explain. She campaigns for fairness for girls. Why do Democrats have so much hatred for women and girls? Bullying girls. This is the hill you'll die on. My 3 daughters just called you trash. I would say decent people want women to have a chance to compete fairly in their chosen sport. I mean, if men can play in women's leagues, let's get rid of the WNBA, NWSL. Yeah. No, she does need to explain herself, Allie. Also, have you ever played a competitive sport in your life? If you did, you'd understand men and boys do not belong in women's and girls' sports. But by decent people, you mean sexual assault apologists like yourself. No, decent people are against men and women's sports. Shame on you. Dude, this is all in response to this one girl who's like, no, she is a bully. Anyway, you get the point, dude. Go read it on your own. It's very entertaining. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Bye-bye.